Can you imagine spending almost 7 decades of your life behind bars? Today, we're diving into the incredible and heart-wrenching story of Joe Ligon, a man who holds the unfortunate record of being the longest-serving juvenile lifer in the United States. His journey is one of loss, resilience, and a fight for freedom that spanned nearly a lifetime. Picture this, it's 1953 in Philadelphia. A young 15-year-old Joe Ligon gets caught up in a tragic night of robbery and stabbings with a group of other teenagers. 2 people sadly lost their lives, and several others were injured. Joe admits he was there, he admits he was involved, but he has always maintained his innocence when it comes to the actual act of killing. He claims he didn't stab anyone. Yet, in a swift and severe judgment, he was convicted of 2 counts of first-degree murder and sentenced to mandatory life in prison without the possibility of parole. He was just a boy, not even old enough to drive, and his life as a free person was over. For the next 68 years, the world outside changed in ways Joe could have never imagined. The civil rights movement reshaped society, we landed on the moon, the internet was born, and generations came and went. Inside the cold walls of Graterford Prison, Joe's world stood still. He aged from a teenager into an old man. He watched as fellow inmates, many of whom he had mentored and befriended, were released, while his own hopes for freedom seemed to fade with each passing decade. He became a fixture, a legend almost, within the prison system. But he never gave up. He refused to accept a fate he believed he didn't fully deserve. So, what changed? How did a man sentenced to die in prison walk out as a free man? The turning point came with a landmark Supreme Court ruling in 2012, Miller v. Alabama. The court declared that mandatory life sentences without parole for juvenile offenders were unconstitutional, calling them cruel and unusual punishment. This decision was monumental. It opened a door that had been sealed shut for Joe and hundreds of others like him. It acknowledged that children are different from adults. Their brains aren't fully developed, they're more susceptible to peer pressure, and they have a greater capacity for change and rehabilitation. Following this ruling, Joe Ligon, along with many other juvenile lifers, was resentenced. In 2017, he was offered a new deal, 35 years to life, which would have made him immediately eligible for parole. It sounds like a no-brainer, right? After more than 60 years, just say yes and walk out. But Joe did something astounding. He rejected the offer. Why? Because accepting parole meant he would still be under the supervision of the justice system for the rest of his life. He would have to check in with a parole officer and follow strict rules. For Joe, this wasn't true freedom. He had maintained his innocence in the murders for over 6 decades, and he was determined to be completely exonerated and free from any form of state control. He told his lawyer, "I'm not a threat to anyone. I don't need supervision." He wanted to be truly free, or not at all. It was a gamble of epic proportions. His lawyer, Bradley Bridge, a dedicated public defender, took up the challenge. He argued that Joe's original sentence was unconstitutional from the start, and that any resentencing that still included parole was also unlawful. The legal battle was long and arduous, pushing the boundaries of the 2012 Supreme Court ruling. It went through appeals and court hearings, with Joe steadfastly waiting in his cell, holding on to his principles. He had already spent nearly 70 years in prison. What were a few more years to fight for what he believed was right? His resolve was unbreakable. Finally, in February 2021, the moment came. A federal court agreed with Joe's argument. The judge ruled that his sentence was indeed unconstitutional and ordered his immediate and unconditional release. At 83 years old, after 68 years, 8 months, and 18 days in prison, Joe Ligon walked out of the State Correctional Institution, Phoenix, not on parole, but as a truly free man. He stepped into a world that was entirely alien to him. The Philadelphia he left in 1953 was gone, replaced by a modern metropolis of skyscrapers, smartphones, and a pace of life he had never known. Imagine his first moments of freedom. The simple act of choosing what to eat, where to walk, or what to watch on a flat-screen TV was a revelation. He was amazed by the tall buildings that now dominated the city's skyline. He had to learn how to use a phone, navigate a supermarket, and understand a culture that had evolved for nearly 70 years without him. It was like being a time traveler. Organizations and community members rallied around him, helping him secure housing, learn basic life skills, and reintegrate into a society that had long forgotten him. He was no longer inmate number 7639. He was Joe Ligon, a citizen. Joe's story is a powerful testament to the human spirit's capacity for resilience. It forces us to confront difficult questions about our justice system. Is it right to sentence a child to die in prison? Can we truly say that a 15-year-old is beyond redemption? Joe Ligon's case highlights the flaws in a one-size-fits-all approach to justice and underscores the importance of second chances. He never stopped fighting, not just for his own freedom, but for a principle that children should be treated as children, and that hope for rehabilitation should never be extinguished. His release wasn't just a personal victory. It set a legal precedent and brought national attention to the plight of other juvenile lifers still waiting for their chance at freedom. It has fueled the debate on criminal justice reform and the morality of life without parole sentences for minors. Joe Ligon didn't just reclaim his life. His decades-long struggle helped pave the way for others to do the same. Today, Joe is making up for lost time. He's reportedly enjoying the simple things: family, good food, and the freedom to make his own choices. His story is a sobering reminder of the years that can be lost to a flawed system, but it's also a story of incredible strength and the ultimate triumph of an unbreakable will. What do you think about his decision to refuse parole and fight for total freedom? It's a question that really makes you think. Thank you for watching and joining us on this incredible journey. If you found this story as moving as we did, please hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into stories that matter. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. See you next time.